Welcome back to 7 Seconds or More. This is episode 18. I am your host, as always, Peter Howarth, and I'm here as usually with Duncan, Adele, and Daniel Park. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having us back.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of stuff to go over. The hot topic news button of the day is this whole report by Woj that the Celtics and Nets have been engaged in trade discussions centering around Kevin Durant and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown then tweeting out SMH, probably frustration that he is in trade rumors as he has been for basically his whole career, from draft night wanting to be either drafted and traded for Chris Dunn or Jimmy Butler, and then later for Paul George, and really down the line, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard. He's always been the guy linked, and Jason Tatum has sort of been the golden boy in Boston. But I was curious on what you both thought, because I think it's more of a smoke and mirrors, more of a leak by the Nets just to try to stir some stuff and create some drama.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's working because, Jaylen Brown having a better performance than Jason Tatum in the finals, coming off of the both of them having a great season, and, next year you just added some pieces, you're looking like you can make it back there again. Like, that's kind of insulting if I'm being traded when we did our job and we got all the way. And Kevin Durant is a fantastic player, but he was on the same team as Kyrie, and they got knocked out in the first round. I think I don't know if he's a game changer for the playoffs, even though he's a fantastic player. So even in that case, especially like having the Celtics beat the Nets, like if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm a little insulted.
For me, I think, it seems like they're bringing up Jaylen Brown because obviously he's a great player and they're trying to pressure these other teams that are interested in Kevin Durant to kind of pay up to that type of talent. But I don't think they're going to get a better talent than Jaylen Brown, And at least from my perspective, if they're asking for Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, I will personally drive them to Brooklyn and bring Kevin Durant. I know he was disappointing.
It's not that
they got swept last year, but we've watched 10 plus years of Kevin Durant, and I mean, I'm all for that, honestly.
It kind of becomes a bit of a chicken and the egg, or the egg thing, though, because there have been like rumors of Jaylen Brown being upset in Boston. He will 100% test free agency because he signed a non-max extension, rookie extension, like 2 or 3 years ago. And the way extensions work in the NBA is you can only offer your own player 120% above the last year of the contract as a starting point for the extension. And so that would still be under a max value. And if Jaylen Brown made a All NBA team, he'd be eligible for a Supermax deal. But again, all that would have to come once he hit free agency. So all signs point that he will not extend with the Celtics. That doesn't mean he won't re-sign. But then if you get to free agency, it can become the wild, wild west. And lately we've seen Jaylen is now the first member of first or second or of Donda Sports, which is Kanye West's sports agency. So it's a bit murky, even if Jaylen Brown has only said that he wants to stay in Boston. So I guess you can look at it and say, well, I know Kevin Durant will be under contract for 4 more years. Why don't I just bring this guy in?
If there's a sports agency that represents the opposite of stability, it'd be anything linked with Kanye West. That man's been like off the rails. So, I'm sure they have like great agents working in the agency, but that is interesting for Jaylen. Like maybe he does get that max with the Nets, and honestly, like I think he'd look pretty good in a Nets uniform and bring some younger life to Brooklyn. But still, if I'm like a Celtics fan, I'd rather have like the homegrown guys because the quote unquote bot teams haven't really been making it to the finals as of late. So I don't know. That's a tough one though.
Yeah, I think that championship is wide open right now. Obviously, we have the Warriors that were dominating for a while, but that's already been like 8 years ago when we thought that they'd keep going, and they did. But I think now it's really wide open. Um, so I think the Celtics should throw everything they have at it right now, and I don't think the Nets are asking for too much, even though they allegedly turned down Derek White because they wanted Marcus Smart. But they have 4 years of Kevin Durant, and um, I think it makes sense that their asking price is what it is. But I don't think they're going to get a better deal elsewhere.
If you're Boston, though, as good of a talent as Kevin Durant is, and I will not be the one to underestimate Kevin Durant, a lot of the work Boston has done this offseason has been to build depth and to help round out a bench that looked very thin and shallow against Golden State in the finals. So why would you sacrifice like Derek White or Marcus Smart, one of the key members of the guard rotation you helped solidify, along with Jaylen Brown, who is 9 years younger than Kevin Durant, for Durant, who has knee issues and is relatively unstable in terms of just solidity with a franchise.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing that's kind of like what we've talked about the Nets is when you have Kevin Durant on your team, the seed doesn't really matter in the playoffs. And maybe that's kind of the same thinking because the East is going to be loaded no matter where you are. We saw that the Celtics had the 2 seed, and every matchup was like a nightmare matchup all the way to the finals. There was no easy round. And so, like, maybe, with Kevin Durant, he plays like 50 games in the season, but he'll play the 45 minutes per game during the playoffs to help your team win, and he can give that valuable push to like the next level during that playoff run.
Yeah, but then we start getting to what exactly the issue was with Brooklyn. Like even with part-time Kyrie and everything, they got to the playoffs as the 7th seed, and everyone thought it was going to be like the best series ever, the best 2-7 series. And then guess what? Kevin Durant played 45 minutes, and no one else was good. So it just seems like Boston is setting themselves up for the same exact thing, where they'll have Kevin Durant, Tatum, like Robert Williams, I guess Brogdon, and then I don't know who's traded. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Payne Pritchard, and then who do you have off the bench? Like Luke Cornett and Grant Williams. I feel like you're putting yourself in the same box. I think
Yeah.
their moves rounding out the bench where like they were adding to their core and not subtracting it. And when you do a trade for Durant, then you're getting a little dicey with who's left.
Yeah, I guess in a way it's kind of a lateral move. Not exactly lateral, but like you have to pay the price for Kevin Durant, and then that depth is gone that you worked so hard to get. And I think they made it to the finals. They improved their team. Like, leave it. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. See if you can do it again, and then maybe after next year, if it didn't work, be like, okay, now we'll move some of these assets to change something.
If it's not Boston, though, where are the other really feasible destinations for Durant? We've had this as a poll before, and where we think Durant's going to go. Daniel, what's the one that sticks out that in your mind is like, I don't know, either that's intriguing for me or I just want to see Durant in that uniform?
I would say the Heat. Obviously, I think at the beginning it was the Suns, but with the Ayton situation, I think they're definitely out of the picture. So I'm going to say Miami, but I don't know how they retain all those pieces that they want to. And there was that report that KD wants to play with the core of Jimmy, Kyle Lowry, and Bam. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to keep them.
Tyler Hero and a bunch of picks wouldn't be enough?
Well,
no, I don't think
you
so.
maybe could do that. You could do a 3-way with Utah, and then Donovan Mitchell's going back to Brooklyn. But I don't think Danny Ainge wants a package based around Tyler Hero.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have like some of those undrafted guys that have given themselves value, like Max Strus.
Gabe
He really
Vincent.
stepped up. Gabe Vincent. Some somewhat two-way guards, which have a lot of value right now. I think, yeah, I agree with you, Dan. Like the Heat would be an interesting spot because we talked about like how Jimmy buckets can like carry a team on his back, imagine giving him another player. like I don't know. Bam's good. Kyle Lowry's okay. None of them are Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting to watch.
Jimmy and Kevin would be lethal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, matching the salaries gets a little messy because let's say you do Bam, um, uh, the Nets can't take Bam in because he was signed to a designated rookie extension, as was Ben Simmons. You can't acquire more than one of those via trade. So therefore, let's say Simmons goes out to another team, and then you're doing a 3-team trade, and the rosters are pretty solidified right now. It's kind of hard to get into that. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly interested in Toronto. Um, then again, I think Brooklyn would ask for Scotty Barnes. Toronto would say no. And then, I don't know, do you want like Van Fleet and Siakam and OG and a ton of picks? And then
Yeah.
what's that roster you're left with? Like Scotty Barnes, Durant, and Chris Boucher? Like, what are we? I don't know. I don't think it pushes the
Precious
needle.
Achua, baby.
I do like Precious. Do they still have Malachi? Malachi Flynn?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
that's a good core. Malachi running the show.
Yeah. I'm interested in like, at what point do the Nets accept like a lower offer? Because I don't know if Kevin Durant's the kind of guy to hold out and just not play, like kind of like what James Harden did. Um, but like teams can't afford him, and so he's either going to stay in Brooklyn or be traded for somewhat less. Because I think like what we're looking at with all these teams, it doesn't make sense to sell your entire future for someone who wants to play with the players you trade him for. Like there's no perfect match, and the asking price is either going to have to be lower or Kevin Durant's going to stay in Brooklyn.
Do you think that the Gobert trade was like kind of set the bar for that, or do you think that the asking price is whatever it is right now, just because it's Kevin Durant, and it would have been that even without the Gobert stuff to the T Wolves?
Yeah, that's tough. I think there was some like precedent set there, but that was such an overpay. Like, right? All those picks for Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert's good. He's unique in the sense where there's not like, I don't know. There's not always a ton of players that are always in Defensive Player of the Year conversation like Rudy. He's got that high field goal percentage, and there's some downsides that he had in Utah, but it's definitely things that could be fixed in Minnesota. But at the same time, just because like they kind of made an overpay for their guy, like it does kind of trap the Nets a bit with either, I don't know, saying like Kevin Durant's not as valuable as Rudy Gobert, which I don't think is the case,
Mm-hmm.
or just accepting something because if not, you're not going to get anything.
It's also hard to compare because like the precedents that have been set in the past like 3 or 4 years or so have wildly varied. I mean, you saw how many picks the Spurs got for DeJounte Murray. If they got that much, then Gobert has to go for more, and therefore Durant has to go
Mm-hmm.
for more than Gobert. But it's almost impossible to get to that level and then have a team that you would want to flesh out. If Durant was 27, sure, because then you have him, I don't know, for let's say the next 10 years. That's not necessarily true because he likes to move like every 3 years, but it's all he's 34. If you mortgage your team, you're left in a worse situation than Brooklyn. There was a report,
Yeah.
I think Shams, he's not a sham. He went on Pat McAfee's show today in the last like hour or so. He said that Kyrie wants to play out the season in Brooklyn if Kevin Durant is there or not. So if Kyrie's committed, and I think Kevin's a guy who just wants to go out and hoop, regardless of however this plays out. They've made some improvements. They brought in T.J. Warren. Then I think they could just end up being better. You have another year of fully playing with everyone. Let's say Kyrie actually plays like a full season.
Say Ben Simmons plays like at least 20 minutes a season.
20 minutes the
Like
whole
that would be an
season, just
upgrade.
one game.
Yeah, just get him in.
They have no Drummond though. How are they gonna win?
Yeah, I don't know.
They have a penguin deficiency on their roster.
Miss that guy.
I don't.
I think he's gonna be good on the Bulls. I think they got a good one.
Yeah, him
I
and
agree.
Vucevic.
Oof, that's scary.
Not really. It's scary for whoever's at the scorers table tallying fouls. I'm not really scared of the Bulls. I don't know. They're just like a classic like 5 seed in the East that'll lose in
Yeah.
6 games in the first round. Anyways, unless anyone has anything else to wrap up on Mr. Durant, I think we're gonna move on to a draft segment. It's back, better than ever.
Yay.
It's really just the same, pretty much. But so we are going to draft guys we would want to build a franchise around. So franchise cornerstones. We're not necessarily making a lineup. It just happens to be that we'll each draft 5. So this includes age and contract. So, for instance, like I think LeBron would be the first pick if we were just picking players, but LeBron's like 37 or 38. You wouldn't want to build a team around him because you don't know how long he'd be there. So we have a pool of 17 with 3 wild cards available, 1 per team. So if the player's not in the pool, then you can select them. But again, each team only has one of those available. So it's 3 of us have a team as well as the audience. So whoever is not picked will be on the audience's team, your team, and then you can vote probably on our Instagram as well as the Q&A and poll in this episode on Spotify. So you'll be able to vote down there. And again, the link to the Instagram is in the link in the description of this and all episodes. So here's the pool. It's Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, John Morant, Zion Williamson, Scotty Barnes, Jaylen Brown, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Darius Garland, Brandon Ingram, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bam Adebayo, and the 3 wildcards. So no particular order there. But we did randomize the order. It'll be a snake draft. It'll go Duncan, myself, and then Daniel. And again, the audience has the remaining pool there. So, Duncan, if you'd like to kick it off with your first pick.
All right, first pick. I had some back and forths here. I'm just gonna hope my second guy's gonna still be there when it comes back around. But I'm just gonna go with a player right now that is young, possible MVP candidate next year, would be good on a team that isn't made of scrubs. Gonna go Luka. Give me Luka Doncic. I want to build around him.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, I saw that one coming. I think he was probably the consensus number 1 on the board. I'm gonna go.
I mean, there's some other good ones there, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Giannis just because I don't care how old he is. He is,
Yeah, that was gonna be my other pick. I was gonna take a veteran that had championship experience to build around with the young core, but he's gone.
Giannis is still only like 27, so I'm perfectly okay with it.
True.
We haven't even seen his prime yet.
Maybe not.
Yep.
Daniel, back-to-back picks here.
The third pick. With the third pick, I'm going to take Jason Tatum, just because I feel like small forward is one of the harder positions to fill well in the league. And a guy, if you're 6'8", you play defense, have a skill or 2 on offense, and you're going to be in the league for a while. And this is a league of wing talents. So I'm going to take him.
He wouldn't have lasted past me anyway, so you're good. Good pick.
And then on the turn, I think I'm going to take John Morant. He's a superstar. Likes the attention. He has the ego, the confidence too.
Okay. I thought it was going to get interesting after the first 3. I thought Luka, Giannis, Tatum, whatever order, I think were the top 3. So is the first off the board after that top 3. So I'm sitting here. I have Giannis. Great player. Top 75 player ever.
True.
Let's see here. Well, Giannis is kind of a big, so I guess I want a guard, but I am thinking like a bigger guard, more of a wing. Oh man. You know what? I've been drinking the Kool-Aid a lot on this guy lately. Everything people are saying about him, I'm just riding it. Anthony Edwards.
Solid.
That was gonna be my pick.
Your guy is still there, Duncan. We got 2 picks here.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking So I've got Luka as my primary ball handler. I was thinking Anthony Edwards because he's really good off the ball as another guard.
Mhm.
And kind of going with that, someone who's also a good ball handler and my Charlotte Hornet. I'm just gonna go LaMelo Ball. He's young, he's fun, and I think it'll work well with them. And then another guy who I'm really hoping will keep on improving throughout his career and could catch some of those lobs from these guys.
No.
Zion. I want Zion. So I've got Luca,
Who's
LaMelo,
mine?
and Zion right now. I think all three of those could be the cornerstone on any team. So I'm gonna go with that.
Great core.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't even matter who the other two guys that
Yeah.
Dan and I pick. Yours is the funnest team to watch for sure. I'll be tuned into that every night, ball whipping around the
Absolutely.
court.
For sure.
Okay, so I got Giannis as best player in the world. I have Anthony Edwards, best press conference player in the world. So I feel like I need a guy to get the ball to them, or I need just another big. I think I'm gonna pass on the bigs for now because I think there's still depth there. Oh man, this is tough because I feel like some of these guys are reach with the guard. I do prioritize two-way stuff. You know what? Might be an over this Steph. I might be an overpick here, but another one of my guys, Cade Cunningham.
Oh,
Give me
nice.
Good
my tall
pick.
guards.
Big season for the Pistons coming up. A lot of young talent.
Motor City.
Yes, go.
Watch out.
So I got a pick here. I'm gonna take a guy that's kind of flown under the radar because they're on a tanking team, unfortunately. Maybe they'll actually start playing for the postseason. It's gonna be SGA on the OKC Thunder.
I was going between Cade and SGA. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I think super underrated, especially finishing under the rim. I think he's one of the best in the league at that.
Yeah, and for our listeners back home, we just went through our first 3 rounds, and the remaining players on the board are Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Brown, Chet, Paolo, Darius Garland, and Brandon Ingram, Bam Adebayo, and then we all still have our wild cards. So what are you going to do with your fourth player, Dan?
My fourth player, I'm gonna go for some size, some more defense.
Don't do it. Don't. Please don't.
I'm gonna take Evan Mobley. Bam's obviously still on the board, but I'm going Mobley for his flexibility at power forward, center, and
Nice.
from what we've seen this season, he can be one of the great defenders in the league.
Oh yeah, only up for Evan.
Yep.
I was gonna take Mobley or Bam, whoever was there. So I'm taking Bam. I probably need some shooting, but we'll address that next round. So Duncan, your last 2 picks here. Again, all 3 wild cards are still on the board. So if you're feeling a guy who's not there, Cody Martin or something, I don't know.
I need a great 2-way. But yeah, I'm going to take the skinny kid from Minnesota. Give me Chet. And the reason I'm taking Chet is because I'm using my wild card next.
Oh my God! Wow.
I'm going to have Chet at the power forward. Zion might be at small forward. No, Chet might be at the small forward. But my wild card is going to be Joel Embiid. I want a true big man who can space the floor with all these players, as well as, I wouldn't want him taking the ball up, but any of these players on this team could handle the ball at any point. So that'll give me Luka, LaMelo, Zion, Chet, and Embiid.
So you're feeling okay
Great
with
team.
the injuries between Zion and Joel, and then skinny boy Chet?
Yeah, Zion, I think hopefully his injuries are behind him. I mean, then again, who knows? I think Joel, you need some experience, someone who's still hungry for a championship and hungry to get in the playoffs. He really wants it. And this could be a roster that would help him do it.
Good pick.
I'll be honest. I'm not saying I'm taking this player, but the disrespect to Jalen Brown is really bad.
He's gonna tweet as soon as he watches this podcast.
come on the show, Jalen. You can air your
Jalen.
grievances here. If you want to request a trade, if you're gonna do it on the pod. Yeah,
Also, no one's taking Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes.
this is true.
That's tough.
Okay, so I got a great playmaking guard, Cade Cunningham. Some room to be desired on his shooting. Anthony Edwards, much improved shooting. Some room to be desired defensively. Giannis and Bam, great defensive guys. Could probably use shooting. So I think
you need a pure shooter.
I think you have seen the prevailing need of my team. So I'm leaning between either Brandon Ingram or using a wild card. I
just put Steph on your team, man.
I don't know. Maybe
do
Keegan Murray. Maybe Keegan Murray's a
that's
sniper.
true.
I don't know. Buddy Hield's still available. Latvian laser is still there. Serbian
Latvian
sniper.
laser.
If you want someone to clear the boards, you can get the Penguin.
You also have Grant Williams, sharpshooter from 3.
Grant Curry. Mr. Disciplined himself. Jaylen Brown's still on the board. I'm so sorry, Jalen. I'm so sorry. Brandon Ingram, welcome to the team.
I like the pick. If you can get like this year's playoffs, Brandon Ingram to be on your franchise, like that, any team should want that.
It just Ingram's playmaking too kind of puts him over the top for me.
His passing's underrated.
Very underrated, and I just need some more movement around the perimeter. So unless you're going to play Mobley at the center, Dan, I think you're in the market for a bigger wing here.
Yeah, Mobley, I think he had a little trouble holding his own playing center this season. He definitely benefits from playing off of Jared Allen.
Jared Allen, a wild card.
Maybe.
No, I'll be honest. This was an idea I was having. I did not go with it, but I was thinking wild card. You could go Victor Wembanyama, the Frenchman.
Honestly, that's not bad.
Because I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have him build a franchise around him than Darius Garland per se.
Yeah, you do have shooting though. You could always go other Frenchman, Rudy. Although I don't know if you want to build around him, but he would fill this out pretty well. Some defensive presence inside.
Serge Ibaka is still available.
I think. Man, I was thinking about Brandon Ingram too, but I guess I'm gonna go a little smaller. I'm gonna just squish Josh Giddey in there. He's my guy.
Wow.
I have a lot of ball handlers, but I think Giddey's a guy that I think he's a generational passer. I genuinely think that he's one of the best passers in the league. The way he whips the ball with one hand.
When your weakness is basketball, is according to the scouts, right? You really gotta make it in other ways. That's interesting.
He puts the ball right in the shooter's pocket every time, and I think he's a guy that can have a positive impact on the floor, even if he doesn't have the ball all the time, or even if he's not a super talented scorer. And I think his rebounding is really good too. So I'm taking him.
So we'll rattle through the teams now. So Duncan's got Luka Doncic, LaMelo Ball, Zion Williamson, Chet Holmgren, and his wild card Joel Embiid. I've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Bam Adebayo, and Brandon Ingram. Dan has Jason Tatum, John Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Evan Mobley, and his wild card Josh Giddey. And so if we're looking at the audience team, it's a pretty formidable team here. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes, Mr. SMH himself, Jaylen Brown. Maybe this year's Rookie of the Year, Paolo Banchero, the pride of one half of Sexland, Darius Garland, and we got a wild card here. So if we're looking at the team here for the audience, definitely got the point guard in Garland, got a pair of wings in Jalen and Scotty.
That's solid, honestly.
Bigger wing in Paolo. So I think they need a big guy.
Big man.
Yeah.
You know what? Wembanyama could be the guy here.
Yeah.
It's not even like a bad pick.
No. And, he's kind of older. but they only really have one true ball handler in Garland because we've seen Jaylen Brown try to be the primary ball handler and it hasn't
What do you
worked.
mean? He
They
can
True.
could have
totally go left.
you could have Jokic.
Ooh.
Jokic. How old is
He
Jokic?
could
Is he
direct.
like 28, 29?
I'm not sure.
Is he younger than Giannis or
I
older?
think he's 27. Jokic. Giannis is also 27.
Yeah.
It's probably Jokic. Jokic probably the move.
That was who I was between Embiid and Jokic, but I was like Embiid's slightly better defensively, I feel like, and that's why I took him. But they've got the defense in Paulo, DG, and Scotty
I know
Jalen.
audience might have the team here. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
That is very solid. Just
This was partially the goal because just to see how it's like when you're doing the fantasy draft and you think you're hitting the picks and then you look at the auto draft team and you're like how'd they get Luca and Giannis?
yeah. No, but it's interesting. I feel like Dan's team would be win in 3 or 4 years, maybe as well with the audience, versus Peter's team and my team are more like, you know, trying to push for a championship sooner and build a more immediate dynasty, a little less of a delay in
Yeah,
time. But all the
yeah.
teams could be pretty competitive.
Well, that does depend, Duncan, if your team can all play together on the floor.
Yeah, no, that's true. That was the one concern with Zion, but I think honestly putting Chet at the three could could work pretty well for him. You know, especially in the beginning of his career when people are worried about him being against like big guys in the low post.
he's gonna
Uh,
have to anchor that defense.
yeah, and just that height over other small forwards could really just make him great on defense.
I will say though, if we're looking across then about like who Chet would be guarding per se, would Josh Giddey just run past him, or would Brandon Ingram just drive by him?
I think they could, but when
That
watching the
reach.
summer league games, the thing I like the most about Chet is not when he was guarding in the post. It's when he's kind of like roaming around, being able to be on his guy. And when they go for that, layup and everything with that wingspan, he can like jump from where he is and make the block. I think he was better at blocking on secondary players, like not who he was guarding directly, but blocking on a double team when coming over. And putting him at the three would allow him to do that. The 4 and 5 are in the low post. Joel's on someone and he's gassed because he's doing all the offense. And then Chet is like, oh, I can get this, help him on the block or something like that.
Yeah, he's a great help defender.
Yeah.
I think this also shows that there's just so many great perimeter players in the NBA right now, and there's just a lot of talent. I mean, among the guys that were not picked, Tyrese Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Green,
Yeah.
Jabari Smith Jr., Jaden Ivey. I mean and I mean there's more too, like Trey Young.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, maybe I'll be honest, probably should have had Trey Young on the list instead of Darius Garland,
Or even like Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
Those guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot of
thought
young
I thought
talent.
Donovan was kind of riding the line. So if he got picked in the wild card slot, then um, do you want to make the executive decision for the audience team swap out Garland for Trey Young? Would any of us pick Trey Young over anyone we had? I don't think I would have.
I would
Mm,
not have.
yeah, I don't think I would have either.
Just the thing with Trey, it's seemingly you have to put a little more care into building a team around him and to have him
Mm-hmm.
plug in more effortlessly with the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So back
Yeah.
to the audience team then, looking at Trey Young, Jalen Brown, Scotty Barnes, Paulo Banchero, Nikola Jokic, and I'm scared that that's a good team.
Yeah.
It might be hard to beat that. So let's
I don't know, Peter. I think your team's probably the strongest. You have two guys that are pretty strong with the ball, Cade uh, and Anthony Edwards. It's probably going to take a huge leap. And then you have a guy that can score in the mid range comfortably, Ingram. He didn't miss this season, especially in the postseason.
you,
Then you have Giannis, that's just a beast down low. And then
Mm-hmm.
Bam, obviously a great defender and can space the floor a bit. So
I'm just worried a little bit about the spacing and then some of the defensive stuff within the front court there, or the back court. No, front court. Very, very solid. But let us know how you feel in the boy, I don't have it today. In the description of this episode on Spotify, if you're listening in the app, scroll down, you see the Q&A and the poll. Poll will be who has the best team. Q&A, well, you'll be able to see what it is. I don't know what it is right now. And also you can head to our Instagram. Maybe by the time this is up, I don't know. Our graphics team, can take a while. They should,
shout out to the graphics team.
The graphics team putting in
they do a lot of
hard work. Really a deep team. Probably a graphic of these teams, and you can look at them there, and then it should also be you should be able to comment on that post to say what your favorite team is. But also, that post might not be up yet, so TBD. Yes.
Also, I was just looking at some players real quick, going back to this. You think Dame or Devin Booker?
I think Dame's too old, and he's making way too much money now.
But D-Book, maybe?
D-Book was an interesting one. He was like riding the line for being on the list again.
He's
along
close.
with like Embiid and Jokic. So I was like, if
Cat,
yeah, I was sort of letting those guys up for a wild card if they wanted to get picked.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know, it's tough. Like with 3 people plus the audience team, they're still stacked, obviously. But if you brought in a couple more people, I think we'd be getting a little more interesting, relying on like Keegan Murray or Peyton Pritchard for sure.
Yeah.
Pritchard, Bruce Brown maybe.
Tyler Hero.
Isaiah Hartenstein, definitely starting center.
Isaiah. Omer Yurtseven.
Malachi would have been first round pick off the board.
That's true.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think these are interesting teams. So let us know. Hopefully we do more drafts in the future. I think they're fun. And again, the draft concept is not an original idea by almost anyone. Everyone does it. Find your favorite YouTuber, they'll do it. Shout out to JJ Redick. He does it all the time. Go listen to the Old Man of the Three, wherever you listen to your podcast. JJ, come on the show.
Come on the show.
So yeah, not an original idea. Not trying to steal it from anyone, but everyone does it. So yeah, or if I'm spinning the wheel, everyone does that. Spinning the wheel today. So I think we're going to wrap up the show now by reading last week's Q&A and poll. Again, as I've said, you can find these on Spotify. Link to Spotify in the description of this episode. And if you're listening on Spotify, good for you. Thanks for listening. So last week's Q&A, more like a week and a half ago. It's very hot here. It's hard to record. Q&A. Can Donovan Mitchell save the Knicks? Our own Daniel Park said no. That's 5 no's for you.
5 no's.
I think it's the right amount.
Yeah.
It's the amount of no's of first round picks that the Knicks would require to give up. 5 first round picks, probably.
Yeah, no.
No. And our own Duncan the French said, Jesus can't save the Knicks. I heard he's a pretty good point guard, Jesus, but no, I don't think he could.
You can nail a 3. No, too much. Who else responded to that?
That was it.
What's your opinion, Peter?
Can Donovan? Well, it depends what saving the Knicks is. He's not going to bring him to a championship, but he's going to make the Knicks more fun, and he'll make them relevant again. So, in a way, I think he can, quote, save the Knicks. He's a hometown guy. They can rally around him. Everyone will wear the jersey for years. Biggest icon since Landry Fields, Raymond Felton. For the poll, who should be on the next cover of NBA 2K? Devin Booker was recently revealed as the cover for 2K23. And so we had a bevy of options here. Ja Morant, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Stephen Curry, Trae Young. Trae Young's on this list, but he wasn't on our pool of players. We need to go to the rating team, see what they're up to on that. We're really deep over here. Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, and then other. before I read it, what do you guys think? I know you probably voted and might have seen the results, therefore. But any guesses who you think would be leading the poll here?
I feel like it's tough. Like the 2K covers almost feel random, kind of hard to predict. But I wonder what point in the season they make the executive decision to do that, because that would really change it. Because we know it's Devin Booker. They must have done that like right before the playoffs when the Suns were like the favorites to win the entire thing. They already put all the graphics together and everything and made the game. And then now it's like, why'd they pick Devin Booker? So it's kind
It's
of tough.
very fickle. I mean, in the past couple of years, we've seen Zion got it after his rookie year, in which he played like 30 games. Anthony Davis, when he got traded to the Lakers after he made a complete clown of himself, leaving the Pelicans. Kyrie got it after storming out of Cleveland. So yeah, it really varies.
Yeah, but I don't know.
So first place, Ja Morant, 60% of the votes.
Makes sense.
Big Ja. I agreed. He just seems so popular, especially with kids. I would think he would sell games. And then second place, Stephen Curry. I think he deserves it. He maybe should have gotten like a GOAT edition or something. They do those all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think the GOAT edition is because it's 2023. It's LeBron and Jordan.
I think
both
just
number
Jordan
23.
actually.
Oh, was it just Jordan?
Yeah. Yeah, a little disrespect to LeBron. Well, LeBron, he wears number 6 now.
Oh, true.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. He
was 6.
It was funny. He wanted to, when Anthony Davis came to the Lakers, he wanted to switch to 6 that year.
Yeah.
But Nike told him, no, we don't have enough time to print the jerseys. We need to sell these jerseys. You're going to have to wait a year.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very funny.
Yeah. Maybe for 2024, we see Tatum on the cover with Kobe.
That'd go kind of hard.
I got you.
That would go pretty hard.
I don't think NBA Twitter will like that. It'll be a lot of.
I think we just have to trade Tatum to the Lakers at that point. A LeBron package.
Probably like THT, Reeves, and a first. Probably get it done.
Yeah.
Horton Hughes it too.
They could. I like the ideas of them doing like sort of collaborative stuff. I know they did like a special edition for NBA 75. For this, because the regular copy was Luka Doncic on the cover, great pick, and then the special edition had three athletes. It had Kevin Durant, Dirk Nowitzki, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. My first reaction was, "What a random group of players."
Yeah.
But other than that was cool.
Yeah, I know they also have another cover with Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi because they're both retiring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and the cover looks sick for that one. But it's cool bringing some more attention to like the WNBA, even if it just gets people to like know their names. Like that's a big deal already.
Mm-hmm.
They've done alternate covers as well in different regions before. So I know probably in like 2K16 or 17 or something, Danilo Gallinari was on the cover in Italy because he's Italian.
That's cool.
And then I believe Maple Jordan was on the cover in Canada at one point.
Oh, wow.
Andrew Wiggins leading the charge. So yeah, maybe more of that. I like it. I know Candace Parker was on the cover this year. There's a women's edition. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That was super cool. First reaction still is big disrespect to the Joker not being on a cover, 2-time MVP.
Yeah, he's just not a sexy pick, you know?
Big sexy, actually. You're mad wrong. The audience is happy with their wild card pick.
Yeah,
that's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, he doesn't move copies. Yeah, but I think that's all we got for today then, unless any of you have any other topics you want to discuss or anything like that. No. For all you watching the video, or rather, for all you listening to the audio and not watching the video, they both shook their heads.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the 27 days, 27 nights, Miles Bridges, but I don't know. I think it's a weird and complicated topic of just Michael Jordan not having any morals and wanting to win.
Well, have you seen that in 2K there people are listing their Miles Bridges cards for 27,000?
I have seen
Oh
that.
my god.
Yeah, I saw a guy who's getting mad because he's like, why are they like taking abuse of this? Like the man committed a crime. Like they should be like cheap, or you should be like quick selling them, or like
Hmm.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I hope Miles gets what he deserves,
Yeah,
whatever
I
that may
hope
be.
the truth is found.
Yeah.
Now for anyone who's not aware, I believe Miles Bridges is a rapper. Does he go by MB?
Yeah. MB 27, MB
Is
something
it just
something.
his
Yeah, something
initials
like
and his
that.
jersey number?
No, there's another thing.
Oh,
Hold
well, he
on.
has a song in which he says 27 days, 27 nights. So
RTB MB.
RTB
Yeah.
RTBMB.
sounds like a droid from Star Wars or something.
Yeah, what RTB stands for, I do not know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, Real Trench Baby is his rap group.
Wow.
as a
Yeah.
group.
Yes, he's the first NBA player that wants to make it out of the league, and it looks like he's succeeding.
Yeah, he's on a fast pace.
Yeah.
Let me get that max.
I mean, Dame actually makes music. He has like Lil Wayne on his songs and everything too. Dame Dollar.
That's
I'm pretty
hilarious.
sure.
Isn't Cade Cunningham? He gave us a little sneak peek.
Cade?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Hey, doesn't Lonzo have some tracks too?
Yeah, I
He
mean,
does.
nothing on the sweet velvet voice of Victor Oladipo.
Great singer.
Have you listened to the music, Dan?
I've seen a clip of him singing at like an awards ceremony.
Duncan and I have listened to Oladipo's music. It's bad. Dude's just horny.
I'll
He's
take
got
a look
pipes
at
though.
it.
Maybe don't. They definitely have headphones in. I think it's explicit music.
That could be the outro for the pod.
Probably copyright strikes, and also I don't want to bleed the ears of the listeners. It's a good idea though. Yeah, how about just pause the episode here and go listen to it as your outro.
There you go.
Oladipo, come on the pod.
Don't sing though. We'll talk basketball, not
Start
music.
singing. You're muted. All right. I think that's that's all we got. So thank you, Dan and Duncan, for coming on as always, and we will catch you next time.